monosodium glutamate. Monosodium glutamate is an excitotoxin. It excites the nerve cells on the tongue to overfire so the food tastes fantastic. Do you know what that means? Rotten food would taste fantastic. A lump of mud would taste fantastic. But if it causes the nerve cells on the tongue to overfire, it causes nerve cells everywhere to overfire. And that explains why many people get headaches after they've had a Chinese meal. How many people on the Saturday night might go out for a Chinese meal? They might have a pre-dinner drink. There's your alcohol. Then they'll have the Chinese meal. There's your MSG. And then they might finish with a cup of coffee with maybe a little bit of sugar. And then they might finish with another alcohol, not realizing, many are sick through ignorance, not realizing that all of these little things are damaging, even killing off their brain cells. MSG comes through today in many different names: flavor enhancers, hydrolyzed vegetable protein, hydrogenated vegetable protein. You must read your labels. When you get good quality food, ideally organic, and prepare it in the best way, you do not need flavor enhancers. This week I've shown you how important the good oils are and the proper salts. A good oil and a good salt can certainly enhance a food. And fresh herbs, they really put a spark in. Chemicals. We've got to get the chemicals out of our homes. That's where it's important again to read labels. Every home should have the chemical maze. Every home should have those little books that will show you what all of those numbers mean. And you can get so many alternatives today to washing detergent, to shampoo, to ladies that wear makeup. You can get chemical free of all of those. But very important to look at the children. There's lots of chemicals come through in the plastics, and we looked at that when we were discussing the hormones. Don't give the children plastic rattles to suck on. Don't give them a drink out of a plastic cup. Go for your stainless steel, or you can get some plastic bottles that don't have the nonylphenols in them. Chemicals are coming into our everyday life in many, many ways. The chemicals must go because they are damaging, and they can damage the nerve cells. Mold. Mold can damage nerve cells. So very important to check the house that there's no mold in the house. Very important that you don't eat old food. There are two foods that commonly grow mold. One is peanuts and one is cooked rice. In 1921, Japan passed the Rice Act. You see, there was an epidemic of cardiac beriberi, which is a heart condition, all through Asia. And so the Japanese government passed the Rice Act in 1921, putting stringent rules on the storing of cooked rice, because they found this mold with its particular mold waste or mycotoxin was directly affecting the heart. So when this Rice Act went through, cardiac beriberi was wiped out. And that's why when you go to Asia today, you'll never eat day-old rice. We should eat rice fresh every day. You want to make sushi? Cook the rice in the morning, make sushi for lunch. You want to make a rice pudding, fried rice? Cook it that morning and then make it a few hours later. Some say, what if you put it in the fridge? You can cook it in the morning and put it in the fridge and maybe eat it in the afternoon, and maybe you can cook the rice at night, refrigerate it and have it the next morning, but you never let it go more than 24 hours. It can grow a mold and we can't even see it. I had a lady do our program who was a pathologist. She said, when I was at uni studying pathology, there were two things that always tested positive for mold. She said it was peanuts and cooked rice. And I had another man tell me that a friend of his did a PhD on mycotoxins, mold waste, and he did his research at Kingaroy. What's at Kingaroy? Peanuts. If you grow peanuts, harvest them, wash them, cook them, eat them, not a problem. You see, it's in storage that the problem arises. And when you think of Australia today, 78% of Australians are living in the city, so all their food is grown in the country and it's in storage that the problem arises. So be careful of mold, be careful what you're eating. If you're very sad right now because you love peanut butter, try roasted cashew butter, try roasted macadamia nut butter. They are just as delicious. There's no need to have the peanuts. This is a very socially acceptable list, isn't it? And this very socially acceptable list is little by little eating away at specifically frontal lobe function. Very hard to put your finger on this one because there's so many little threads. And in every case there can be different threads. I see this as the mirror, and when you look in the mirror, the light bulb will go off and you will know what areas you need to address. Because I don't know about you, but I want my brain to be sparky right up until the day we die. And in the next part of our lecture, the second part of our brain lecture, I'm going to show you how you can rewire your brain. I'm going to show you how your brain can get smarter as you get older. I'm going to show you how your brain can even get more intelligent as you get older. Because remember, the frontal lobe is like a muscle, though it is not a muscle. And intellect can be lost and intellect can be strengthened. It is not IQ that is the most important, it's actually what you do with it. Genetics loads the gun, but it is lifestyle that pulls the trigger, physically and mentally.